Welcome back to the Deep Dive, your daily source for what's happening in the world of AI.
That's right. We're cutting through the noise today, looking at AI in legal tech, model developments, environmental questions, and a whole lot more.
The goal, as always, is to pull out the key updates you need to know, keeping you informed without the overload.
Exactly. We've got insights from Tech Republic, TechCrunch, Towards AI, and several others.
All right, let's kick things off with legal tech. Tech Republic had a piece on this.
Yeah, they did. They're really outlining the pressures legal departments are under, reviewing endless data, the risk of human error, complex regulations, and of course, cost pressures. It's a tough environment.
So where does AI fit into this picture?
Well, the report suggests AI agents are becoming pretty significant solutions. They boost efficiency, improve accuracy, and help teams scale up.
Okay, so practical examples. Where is it making waves?
Legal research is a big one. AI can summarize case law, find precedents, analyze documents much faster, and, crucially, accurately.
So this could really level the playing field. Maybe smaller firms get better research capabilities.
That's the potential, yeah. It makes that deep dive research more accessible.
What else? Document review came up, I think.
Definitely. Think about due diligence, sifting through thousands of contracts. AI can scan for specific clauses, flag risks, find anomalies, stuff that's incredibly tedious and error-prone for humans.
Right. It's not just faster, but potentially more thorough.
Exactly. Catching things that might otherwise slip through. Then there's contract management.
Oh.
AI assists with drafting, reviewing standard agreements, monitoring the whole life cycle, tracking deadlines, even checking if terms are being met.
Like a super vigilant paralegal always on the job.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It leads to fewer misdates, fewer breaches, just more proactive management.
And intellectual property, that was mentioned too.
Mhm. Monitoring for infringements, helping with patent and trademark filings, making sure renewals happen on time.
Which is pretty critical these days.
Absolutely vital. So the takeaway from Tech Republic is clear. Intelligent automation isn't just nice to have anymore. It's becoming a real competitive edge in law.
Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing. Tech Republic also spotlighted environmental concerns, right? Especially around Earth Day.
Yeah, that piece raised some fundamental questions about AI's compatibility with sustainability.
Because of the resources needed.
Exactly. Training these massive models, the inference process, just the day-to-day operations, it all consumes significant amounts of water and power. That's a growing concern.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Now let's shift gears to how we're actually evaluating these AI models. TechCrunch reported some issues.
Yeah, specifically with crowdsourced benchmarking platforms like Chatbot Arena, some experts are raising flags.
What kind of flags?
Mhm.
Ethical? Academic?
Both, really. Concerns about whether public votes are a rigorous way to measure capability, potential biases in who is voting, and, the overall scientific validity.
Interesting. So popular opinion might not be the best judge of AI quality.
That's the argument some are making. On the usage front, though, TechCrunch also noted OpenAI's data shows ChatGPT search is growing fast in Europe.
How fast?
Around 41.3 million average monthly active users. That's pretty significant growth.
Shows AI search is definitely catching on. What about new tools for developers? Mistral AI had something.
Yeah, Towards AI covered their new Classifier factory. It lets developers build custom text classification models.
Custom models. Using Mistral's tech.
Exactly. Using their language models and API, you prep your data, upload it, fine-tune the model, and then use it for predictions. Single or multi-target classification.
So more specialized tools, not just giant general models.
Precisely. It gives developers more control and efficiency for specific tasks.
Towards AI also looked at observability tools for LLMs, didn't they? Things like LangFuse, Helicone.
Right, traceloop, portkey. They emphasize how important this kind of telemetry is. You need to understand what these LMs are actually doing under the hood.
Why is that becoming so critical now?
Because these models are being used in more serious applications. So you need to monitor their behavior, spot issues like bias or hallucination, track performance, basically ensure they're reliable and trustworthy.
Speaking of performance, OpenAI released new models. Simon Willison had notes on this.
He did. OpenAI released search-enabled models called O3 and a 4 Mini. Willison found O3 particularly good for real-time deep research tasks.
Why? What makes it good for that?
Its reasoning capabilities, apparently. It's better at evaluating the search results it pulls back from the web.
Okay, better reasoning. But there was a catch, wasn't there? Something about accuracy.
Yeah, the system card for O3, which Willison also discussed, showed something interesting. O3 makes more claims overall than the previous O1 model.
More claims. good and bad.
Exactly. It leads to both more accurate claims and more inaccurate or hallucinated claims. The hallucination rate actually doubled on one of OpenAI's internal benchmarks.
Doubled. Wow. So more capable, but also potentially more confidently wrong.
That seems to be the trade-off, or at least the current challenge. It highlights the ongoing difficulty in making these powerful models consistently factual.
And the system card mentions sandbagging. What's that about?
OpenAI defines it as the model essentially hiding its full capabilities,
Right.
concealing what it can really do. The implications of that are, well, quite something to think about.
Definitely. OpenAI also put out a guide for businesses, right, on using AI.
Yeah, a practical guide for enterprises on how to identify AI use cases in their workflows and, more importantly, how to scale them up effectively.
Okay, lots happening with model evaluation and releases. What about new types of AI agents?
MarkTech Post reported on ByteDance releasing UiTARS 1.5. It's an open-source multimodal agent.
Multimodal, so understanding different types of input.
Right. And this one focuses on interacting with graphical user interfaces, GUIs, and also game environments.
Interacting with GIs.
Yeah.
What are the applications there?
Think about automating tasks on your computer. Better accessibility software, maybe more intelligent software testing, or even more sophisticated game AI. It shows improvements in GUI automation and game reasoning.
Interesting. And towards AI, looked at cross-modal AI more broadly.
Yeah, focusing on text-to-X tasks, text-to-image, which we see a lot of, but also text-to-speech. Mentioning models like AudioGen and MusicGen from Meta and IndicTTS from AI4 Barat, and also text-to-video. The idea is AI generating different kinds of output from text prompts.
The creative potential there is huge. What else is new in models and agents?
Well, the Decoder-noted AI researcher Sebastian Roschka published an analysis on how reinforcement learning helps improve reasoning in LLMs.
Reinforcement learning. Improving reasoning. How does that work?
It's about training the model based on feedback for the quality of its reasoning steps, not just the final answer, pushing it towards better thought processes.
Got it. And there are more guides out there for building agents.
Yeah, Tina Huang has a YouTube guide mentioning resources from OpenAI and Anthropic for actually building these things.
AWS is also active here. Prompt optimization on Bedrock.
Right. Announced on their machine learning blog. It's designed to improve LLM performance specifically for text processing tasks by refining the prompts you give the model.
Makes sense. Better prompts, better results. They also detailed a pipeline for evaluating generative AI.
Yes, using something called Amazon Nova. The goal is to build an automated way to check generative AI solutions for issues like hallucinations and bias, again focusing on reliability.
Seems like reliability and evaluation are major themes right now. What about hardware? Any news there?
Quite a bit. Analytics India magazine reported Huawei is gearing up to ship new AI chips. This is happening amidst restrictions on China, so Chinese AI firms are looking for domestic alternatives to, say, NVIDIA.
So geopolitical factors heavily influencing the hardware side.
Absolutely. And related to that, Ars Technica suggested TSMC believes even someone like Trump couldn't fully stop China from getting AI chips eventually.
Complex dynamics. NVIDIA had an issue too, right? A driver hotfix.
Yeah, they had to issue a hotfix for a GPU driver bug that was causing overheating but falsely reporting temperatures as safe. Bit of an oops there.
Definitely want accurate temperature readings. AWS also talked about custom accelerators beyond GPUs.
Yeah, on a Tech Field Day podcast, Emily Weber discussed things like AWS Trainium and Trainium 2. They're custom chips designed specifically for AI training, highlighting specs and use cases.
So specialized hardware continues to be a big focus. Meanwhile, MarkTech Post also covered those OpenAI O3 out of 4 mini models we mentioned, stressing their web access.
Yep. Accessing up-to-date web info seems table stakes now for the big models.
And TechSpot noted you can now generate AI video with just 6 GB of VRAM.
Yeah, that's a significant drop in hardware requirements. It makes AI video generation much more accessible to everyday users and smaller creators, democratizing the tech.
That could lead to a flood of new content. Any other company news?
Reliance AI built a platform called Data Journeys for visibility into company data flows. The aim is cutting AI compliance time and building more trustworthy AI.
Trustworthy AI. Anthropic did some research on that.
Yeah.
Analyzing conversations.
They did. They analyzed 700,000 Claude conversations and found the AI expresses 3,307 to be precise, unique values. It offers insights into AI alignment and safety. understanding the values embedded in AI responses.
Fascinating. What about the impact on existing industries? Google's AI overviews.
The Decoder reported data from Arifs suggesting Google's AI overviews are actually draining clicks from top websites, which kind of contradicts Google's own claims.
That'll be an ongoing debate. Any other quick hits?
Let's see. Business Insider discussed why breaking up Google and Meta on antitrust grounds might be difficult. Tech Meme noted a student suspended for an AI cheating pool raised $5.3 million for a similar tool called Cluely.
Oh, wow.
Gizmodo reported Amazon paused negotiations on some international data centers, according to two banks. Gradient Flow discussed navigating Huawei's AI hardware landscape. Analytics India magazine had a slightly quirky piece saying being polite please and thank you to ChatGPT costs OpenAI millions because of the extra processing on such a high-traffic site.
The cost of courtesy.
Analytics Vita detailed someone scaling their blog using AI without hiring writers, focusing on SEO. RockTech showcased an AIoT edge computing platform. Hippocratic AI is expanding to the Middle East. Fact Check Africa debunked Trump deepfakes about Nigerian politics.
Lots of different angles. Any notable comparisons or explorations?
Analytics Vidya shared an attempt to build an image captioning app with OpenAI Codex CLI. The new stack compared Nada and Otter AI for transcription and also explored how AI is changing the software development lifecycle.
And finally, a ton of research papers continue to come out on RCAPs, right?
Oh, absolutely. A constant stream. Papers on things like uncertainty in LLMs, robust estimation, adversarial attacks, medical imaging AI, target tracking, text-to-video generation, GUI agents again, analyzing values in LLMs like that Anthropic study, benchmarks for medical dialogues using LLMs for qualitative analysis, datasets for code models, reasoning for table Q&A, adapting models to low-resource languages, dealing with reward misspecification and jailbreaking. The list just goes on and on.
It really shows the breadth and depth of current AI research across so many different domains.
Exactly, from fundamental theory to very specific applications.
So, wrapping up today's deep dive, it's clear AI is advancing rapidly on multiple fronts. We've seen practical uses in law, new tools, ongoing debates about evaluation and ethics.
And fundamental work on model capabilities, hardware developments, and understanding AI societal impact, including its environmental footprint. Plus, that growing accessibility like the lower VRAM for video.
The increasing capability, but also the increasing complexity and potential issues like hallucinations seem to be key themes. Reliability and trustworthiness are huge.
Definitely. And the efforts to build better evaluation pipelines and observability tools reflect that.
As you go about your day, maybe think about how these developments, from AI lawyers to more accessible video tools, might shift things. What new questions does all this spark for you?
Good question to ponder. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
We'll be back tomorrow with more essential AI news.